we've talked on the YouTube channel in the past year about Ninja Gaiden and this franchise, which, by the way, guys, before we even go any farther, I've gotten a lot of flack in the past when I've talked about Ninja Gaiden. People getting mad at me for calling it Ninja Gaiden. Over the years, guys, I've called it Ninja Gaiden. Okay, Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden. I've actually called it both things, but at the end of the day, everyone's correcting me as it being Ninja Gaiden. So we'll go with that. And obviously, guys, this is a franchise that I do enjoy quite a bit, right? It's a fun, exciting, hack and slash kind of video game series. And I've been wanting to see the continuation of it moving forward, right? We all want to see the continuation here. And I know that there's been a lot of speculation. There's been rumblings that there was going to be a continuation at some point or another by Team Ninja. Basically, the name of their company was based around Ninja Gaiden, so why not have it, continue at some point or another? And obviously, they've been working on other games, but in this segment of the show, guys, I want to talk about everything that we want out of Ninja Gaiden 4 in particular, if we're going chronologically here. When I say we, I'm going to be talking, obviously, just mainly myself here, who's going to be giving, my opinions here. I know some of you are going to probably share similar, things that you want, and similar opinions. But there will also be some opinions that will be your own and that, I would love to hear about in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So number one, guys, I think one of the biggest things that I just want here is a Ninja Gaiden 4. I want them to continue this franchise, right? I think that even though we've had 3 of these games up to this point in the main storyline, and obviously Ryo's been a part of Dead or Alive, that franchise and such, which is cool, but we want to see the continuation. I mean, you could say, oh yeah, this was a trilogy, but I think that it was obviously meant to be bigger than just a trilogy. And so I think Ninja Gaiden 4 could really continue building upon what they started with the first 3 games. And I personally loved, the last game that came out, the, Ninja Gaiden 3. I know some people, all of them, there's, lots of people out there in the community have mixed feelings about each of these installments, and it's interesting. They've gotten mixed reviews overall within, community members, but I enjoyed the 3rd game. And so I'm hoping, as we see the continuation here, I'm hoping that they, stick to the core elements of what has made Ninja Gaiden so good in the past. And that's, of course, all the different moves and the combos and different, kind of always trying to have new enemies, bosses, things of that nature. I think will really help progress this series forward. I think that they need to add more, though. They need to add more combos. They need to add different ways in which we can connect with this franchise. And maybe changing things up in a significant way might not be a bad idea. And what I'm getting at is, think of a game like God of War that was played in one way for so long, and then all of a sudden they decide that being Santa Monica or Sony Santa Monica Studios decide to go a totally different direction. And look at the success they had. I'm not saying that Ninja Gaiden has to do the same thing, but maybe changing things up a little bit might not be a bad idea for this franchise. But all in all, I think that Ninja Gaiden 4 needs to stick to the core mechanics, some of the gameplay and such. And then moving into the next thing, guys, I think that bringing the series back is going to certainly... it's going to continue the legacy. It's going to continue the lore that they started in the first 3 games. And so... all in all, I think I want to see new characters introduced. I want to see some of the old characters from the other games. And then I want to see new types of enemies to go up against. I also want to have more to do in the environment. I mean, I'm not saying like an open world scenario, but I'm saying even maybe a semi-open world, like some semi-open world elements might be a really cool thing for Ninja Gaiden 4. Just to kind of test the waters. Team Ninja can kind of test the waters here and see what people think about a semi-open world, game here. Because I don't think I would be alone when I say that other people would be really interested to explore this world in a more, thorough way. And obviously we want a linear story, but having some open world, semi-open world elements might not be a bad idea. The next thing for me, guys, is multiplayer. I think having multiplayer experiences and co-op experiences, I've said this in the past about many games out there, having multiplayer experiences could really do well for this franchise, I believe, right? Whether it's even just a kind of like a fighting game, right? Where it's just 1v1 and it's like turned into something that's like Mortal Kombat or something, but it's Ninja Gaiden. Even something like that, at least it's more ways to connect with the franchise. Because look, when you look at games out there, like you look at Ninja Gaiden, we just talked about this in the last segment with Horizon Forbidden West, as a single player story, after you're done beating it, you might play it another time around, or maybe even a couple of times through, playing it on harder difficulties and trying to get all the collectibles and things of that nature. But after you beat the game a couple of times, you're going to move on to other games. It's just what happens to us as gamers. But when there's a multiplayer mode or modes and co-op modes that you can play with your friends, you'll go through the story or go through those co-op missions or play on multiplayer modes continuously. So Team Ninja, I think, would be really smart to add some multiplayer and some co-op modes, and that's something I absolutely would want out of this franchise, because I think it could actually do really well. And then, guys, the last thing for me is, I've said this on a number of occasions with other games too, is if you made Ninja Gaiden 4 free to play, most likely it's not going to happen. But I think if you made this game free to play, I think that it would bring a ton of eyeballs to this game. And there would be a lot of people that would at least try it out, especially if you had multiplayer modes and such. I mean, imagine being able to take your own ninja and being able to customize it, through earnable items in the multiplayer or the story mode or the co-op modes, and you're able to show that off to everybody in the multiplayer modes. I just think, in my vision at least for it, I think it could be absolutely huge. I think people would absolutely love it. And I'm not saying that that's likely, because it probably isn't, but it's one thing that I would want, because in a world now, a gaming world that is so full of so many games out there now that are AAA titles that are free to play, or at least have segments that are free to play, like, Call of Duty Warzone, or, you got Fortnite, you got Apex Legends, you got all these different games that have free to play elements to them. I think that having Ninja Gaiden 4, having some free elements might be a really good idea. On the flip side of that, maybe it's not, because it's, kind of a hack and slash game, not necessarily for all audiences. So maybe it's not the best game to be a free-to-play game, but I do think that it would do pretty well, because a lot of people would at least try it out. These are the things that I would like to see in Ninja Gaiden 4. What do you guys want to see in this game, guys? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Ninja Gaiden 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.